While there are acts of God, this was an act of greed that was 100% preventable.
President Joe Biden said he would visit East Palestine, and today was the day. A year after the train derailment, the president wasted no time calling out the company responsible for it. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lindsay Watson. President Joe Biden spent about 2 hours in East Palestine late this afternoon, talking with not only the mayor and fire chief, but various members of the community as well. The president stopped at the derailment site and a downtown business. First News anchor Stan Boney was in the village for the president's visit. He has our top story tonight at 10.
President Joe Biden arrived in East Palestine around 4:15 with Mayor Trent Conaway and Fire Chief Keith Drabick on each side. They walked to the derailment site. For security reasons, Norfolk Southern stopped all trains for 2 hours.
We just concluded a briefing about the Herculean efforts, and that's not a hyperbole, the Herculean efforts that were made in the year since this tragedy.
The president made his remarks inside Brave Industries, adjacent to the derailment site, where he was critical of Norfolk Southern.
We were pushing the railroads to take more precautions, to deal with braking, to deal with a whole range of things that were not dealt with. Norfolk Southern failed its responsibility.
The president also came to the village with help.
Today I'm announcing the award of 6 National Institutes of Health grants to some of America's best research universities to study the short and long-term impacts of what happened here.
We will not be defined by this single event, rather our response to it and our perseverance.
Mayor Conaway would later say he was pleased with the president's visit, and getting to ride in the presidential limousine was pretty cool too.
President Biden, your long-awaited visit to our village today allows us to focus on the things we agree with. Acknowledging this disaster should have never happened.
I am very glad that he came to town. I'm glad that he answered our invitation.
Jess Connard was among the East Palestine residents who met with the president after his remarks and who left at the same time as the president's motorcade.
I'm really excited to see what type of medical testing, assessments, treatment is going to come out of this.
Before leaving town, President Biden visited the 1820 Candle Company, where he had water, coffee, and a donut. He talked with the medical director of East Liverpool City Hospital, who opened a health care clinic in East Palestine, and who was concerned about keeping the clinic open.
We have to make sure that there are long-term clinics available for people. I mean long-term. I don't mean a year. I mean for the next 20 years.
A long-term commitment, in fact, was the general theme of the president's visit.
But we have other obligation, and that's here is to stay here as long as it takes to get everything done and be sure no one's left behind.
In East Palestine, Stan Boney, WKBN 27 First News.
Now, before his stop in East Palestine, President Biden visited the Darlington Fire Department. That's in Beaver County. As you know, this community was also impacted by the train derailment. Many people were forced to evacuate during those early days. The Darlington Fire Department was among the dozens of crews on the scene that night. You can see the president talking with first responders and thanking them for their continued hard work. Well, President Biden wasn't greeted with the warmest of welcomes in the village today. Many residents are frustrated that it took him a year to make a stop following the disaster. First News weekend anchor Kristen McFarland continues our team coverage.
People of all ages gathered the streets in East Palestine to catch a glimpse of President Joe Biden. For many, his long-awaited visit sparked many emotions like anger and frustration.
He took his time getting here. We're just a little aggravated about that.
It's too late. He should have came, like a week or two after. He should have. It's ridiculous that he didn't.
Other residents say the president's visit, although overdue, is still extremely valuable for the recovering community.
It does matter. And I mean, even though it has been a year, there have also been a lot of stuff that Norfolk Southern has been helping out with too. I do believe that if he's going to help change our town, then he needs to make a bigger impact.
Even younger children stood by the street and watched as the president drove through the village. Parents and families saying, regardless of their opinion of Biden, an opportunity for their children to see the president is rare.
I mean, you're supposed to respect him, and, you know, we're teaching the kids the right way.
You know, seeing for the first time the president of the United States, it's cool, but not under these conditions. Correct.
In East Palestine, Krista McFarland, WKBN 27 First News.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay Watson. Thanks for watching the WKBN 27 First News YouTube channel. If you want more video news, subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the WKBN 27 First News app for breaking news alerts.